What's up, y'all? Phil James. So, this next topic that we're going to talk about, I consider myself pretty well versed when it comes to truther topics. I have never, ever seen a YouTube video on this topic. Not one. Okay? And I never even had a name for it, nor did I know that this existed. A lot of you know that I live in a country area, like out in the boonies, okay? I'm surrounded by farms, I'm surrounded by fields. Still didn't know about this, okay? But with that being said, the past couple years, I've started to smell something different. And I was like, this is far worse than what I've ever smelled. I've lived in the country for 30 years, okay? Manure, no big deal. This was something different. Well, family starts to notice. People that I know start to notice. Like, oh man, this stuff smells different. And then I stumble across this article here. And I'm like, that's the name. Okay. So we're going to read this article. It's a relatively long article. Please stick around. You'll want to hear this. There's a lot of good things in this article that you can go read on your own, so I will leave a link below in the description to this website and to this article right here. So we're going to go ahead and start reading. Yeah, get ready for this. BioSolids. Mix human waste with toxic chemicals, then spread on crops. Now you'll see that there's a bunch of dairy cows just kind of chilling, hanging out. That is in Maine. It was a farmer. He was using biosolids on his crops and his fields. Well, those biosolids contained a lot of PFASs, and it got his farm shut down. PFASs are the forever chemical, but we'll talk more about those in just a minute. Alright, so I've had this in my web browser since October 5th, okay? And I held off for a little bit of time, and I wasn't really sure why. I'll talk about that later, as well as why I waited, because I figured out why. It wasn't really my choice. I think the big guy upstairs had me wait, and I just didn't understand what was taking place. But now we're getting started. Residual sludge from treating wastewater has been turned into a money spinner, but what are the costs to health of the most pollutant-rich man-made substance on Earth? Now, by some estimates, Americans send about 300 million pounds of feces daily from the nation's toilets to wastewater treatment plants. Now, just for some perspective on that, 300 million pounds daily ends up being 109 billion 500 million pounds per year. Okay, that's a lot of feces. Now, Americans must just be full of shit. Ha! No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, we're going to continue. While the water is cleaned and discharged, chlorinated, fluoridated, bleached, and lime powdered in some cases, the remaining toxic sewage sludge stays at the treatment plant, and it's what Sierra Club environmentalist Nancy Rain calls the most pollutant-rich man-made substance on Earth. This biosolid sludge is expensive to dispose of because it must be landfilled. Apparently not anymore. But the waste management industry is increasingly using a money-making alternative, repackaging the sludge as fertilizer and injecting it into the nation's food chain. So that means all over your produce, all over your wheat, all over the soy, which is in everything. Biosolids everywhere. And why am I saying that? You know, even if other people haven't noticed it? Well, because we're getting there too. Continue to listen. You'll understand why I'm saying everywhere. Now the practice of spreading biosolids is behind a growing number of public health problems. Spreading pollutant-filled biosolids on farmland is making people sick, contaminating drinking water, and filling crops, livestock, and humans with everything from pharmaceuticals to PFAS. the forever chemicals. As more biosolid-linked crises develop, some farmers and environmentalists are calling for a ban on the practice. In 2019, about 60% of sewage sludge produced by treatment facilities will be spread on farmland and gardens, as well as schoolyards and lawns. We're going to math it up here for a second. So 300 million pounds daily ends up being 109,500,000,000 pounds per year. Now in 2019, like it just said, 60% of that 109,500,000,000 pounds is going to be spread all over everything. 60% is 6,570,000,000 pounds. So being December, that means I'd have to assume, being December, that the 60% has already been spread all over the U.S. from coast to coast, basically. Right? USDA, EPA, and the FDA obviously allow this. Back to it, though. So sludge holds nitrogen, phosphorus, and other nutrients that help crops grow. So the waste management industry lightly treats it and sells it cheaply to farmers who view it as a cost-saving product. Now, the way they do this, normally the treatment facility has to pay to have someone transport it to a landfill and then landfill it down in the ground, right? Well, now they just repackage it, put fertilizer on it, and then they sell it to the farmers, right? So they're making money. Which option are they going to choose? Yeah. So then, because they're selling it and they're calling it like a recycled good or a green type fertilizer, they're giving it to farmers at a discounted rate. So the farmers view it as a win. The treatment facilities view it as a win. And the EPA obviously views it as a win because they're killing us silently, because I've never heard anybody talk about this. That's why we're going to blow the lid off in this area, because it's getting big here. Alright. But in fact, the excrement from which sludge derives has mixed with any number of 80,000 man-made chemicals that are discharged from industry's pipes or otherwise pumped into the sewer system, because a lot of industry still just lets their runoff run right into the industrial sewage system. Okay, just the way it is here. By the time the mix lands in treatment plants, it can teem with pharmaceuticals, hormones, pathogens, bacteria, viruses, protozoa, and parasitic worms, as well as heavy metals like lead, cadmium, arsenic, or mercury. Have to assume aluminum's all through that. It often includes PCBs. That is a Monsanto product. It was made years and years ago, and it used to be in all those black ballasts, those boxes in fluorescent lighting. PCBs, though, are radioactive. PFASs, those are the forever chemical, and it's used for water-resistant stuff. Dioxins, that's another Monsanto product, okay? And dioxins were the main ingredient. Dioxin was the main ingredient in Agent Orange, what we doused Vietnam with. BPAs, I do believe that is an estrogen mimicker. We kind of discussed those on this channel just a little bit here recently. And dozens of other harmful substances ranging from flame retardants to hospital wastes. Sounds healthy, right? Especially because we remove all this from our water for a reason, right? Spending billions of dollars to remove hazardous chemicals and biological wastes from water only to spread them on soil everywhere we live, work, and play defies common sense, said David Lewis, a former EPA scientist who opposed spreading sludge on cropland in the mid-1990s as the agency approved the use. So it's been happening for a long while. And I have a plaque I'll show right now. It's an award for 10 years of use. Previously, treatment facilities burned sludge or dumped it in the ocean, but the federal government barred the practices because doing so violated clean air rules or created marine or aquatic dead zones. The EPA now insists that spreading the same toxic substance on farmland and our food and your yard and gardens and schoolyards and everywhere else is safe. I think not. And Miss Nancy Rain from the Sierra Club environmentalist thing, that's what they call her, Sierra Club environmentalist. Nancy Rain questioned that conclusion, noting that there is very little regulation, very little testing, and no knowing what's in each batch of sludge because compositions vary. Now, Delaware City's composition of like sludge composition might be totally different from what's in Colorado Springs sludge composition. You see? Crap. Yeah, compositions vary. In what biosolid testing the EPA has conducted, it identified more than 350 pollutants. Okay? 350 pollutants. That includes 61 it classifies as acutely hazardous or priority pollutants. But the law requires only 9 of those to be removed. 9 of 352 technically. Okay? They have to remove 9. Sorry. Moreover, the EPA and the wastewater treatment plants don't test for or otherwise analyze most of the 80,000 man-made or synthetic chemicals. In a scathing 2018 report, the EPA Office of Inspector General noted the agency couldn't properly regulate biosolids even if it sincerely tried because it lacked the data or risk assessment tools needed to make a determination on the safety of 352 pollutants found in biosolids. Doesn't sound like this is regulated too well, does it? Though regulators and industry don't know what's in biosolids, there is strong evidence that it can be dangerous. A University of North Carolina study found 75% of people living near farms that spread biosolids experienced health issues like burning eyes, nausea, vomiting, boils, and rashes, while others have contracted MRSA, a penicillin-resistant superbug. Terrible. Now, like I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this video, I live in a country community. I'm surrounded by fields. I don't think the field in my backyard spreads biosolids. I could be wrong. There's a couple types of biosolids. There's Class A, Class B, and then there's Class A EQ, which stands for excellent quality. B is not treated like at all, but we'll get into that more in the next video. But I do not believe the field behind my house spreads biosolids, but I think somewhere very close does because it drifts and you can smell it so strongly. And like I said, it's totally different and you know it. It burns your eyes exactly like that says, okay? I have had kind of a rash too, so I don't even know, and I'm not sure where this rash comes from. It's all over. I'm all itchy all of a sudden. Alright, it's probably Morgellons, knowing my luck. Alright, so in South Carolina, sludge containing high levels of carcinogenic PCBs, that radioactive Monsanto chemical product, whatever you want to call it, was spread on cropland. And in Georgia, sludge killed cows. Biosolids are also thought to be partly responsible for toxic algae blooms in the Great Lakes and Florida, and biosolid treatment centers regularly pollute the air around them. So with the algae, I want to say, I don't know how nutrients would survive the so-called treatment that these biosolids go through. So I wouldn't think biosolids caused it because I don't think they actually have that many nutrients in them. I don't think it's possible. Honest to God, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. There could be some. But like it said in this article, there's no way of knowing what's the best because compositions vary. So nobody would ever really know, right? But Also, with the polluting the air around these facilities, obviously they're going to pollute the air and cause some sort of horrifying odor. I mean, look at this. That picture there is a large drying or dewatering bed or vat. So, yeah, they air dry it. Meanwhile, sewage sludge is behind a widening PFAS crisis that has contaminated farms in Maine, Michigan, Wisconsin, Alabama, and Florida. PFASs, or forever chemicals, are linked to a range of serious health problems like cancer, thyroid disorders, immune disorders, and low birth weight. The chemicals are a product used to make non-stick or water-resistant products and are found in everything from raincoats to dental floss to food packaging. So you floss your teeth with it and they wrap your food in it. So here we go. Here's the good stuff. Maine's testing a 44 field sprayed with biosolids earlier this year consistently found alarming PFAS levels in the ground, cows, and farmers' blood, which forced one dairy farm to shut down. You saw the picture of the cows from that dairy farm up top. They're finding kilograms of PFASs in the sewage sludge when nanograms are harmful to humans. So you can't regulate it as fertilizer, said Laura Orlando, a civil engineer who tracks problems with biosolids. Still, state governments continue to allow biosolids to be spread on farmland or sold in compost. In Michigan, an environmental official recently said the state won't test for PFAS in milk because it doesn't want to put farmers out of business. That's promising. Michigan, sorry, you can't drink your milk. You can't drink your water. At this point, solar distill, reverse osmosis, that's the only way, man. I'm so sorry, Michigan. A spokesperson for Michigan's Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy did not respond to specific questions about biosolid use, but said the state had increased PFAS testing, and in 2017 it issued suggestions for biosolids applications. However, the Sierra Club's Great Lakes manager, Christy McGilvray, noted that Michigan doesn't have PFAS standards, so that makes it impossible to regulate it. I would say so. There's no control or baseline that they have to go off of to regulate the levels. So that's impossible. Good job, or good call, Christy McGilvray. As of now, states aren't testing for most of the thousands of chemicals known to be in sludge beyond PFASs. Biosolids are also creating tension in some country communities as farmers who use it pollute watersheds, contaminate neighbors' wells, or sicken the neighbors altogether. Don Dickerson, here we go with the Marvel Comics type names. Don Dickerson, a farmer with land in Michigan and Ohio, told The Guardian biosolids dust from an adjacent field had coated his home and crops in the substance. Paul Walfarth, a resident of Riga Township, Michigan, said sludge is contaminating his well and charged that biosolids from the state's cities were turning Riga Township into a waste dump. When you put heavy metals, PFASs, plastics, pharmaceuticals, and all that in the soil, sooner or later it gets toxic, and you can't wish that stuff away. You're ruining the topsoil forever, he said. We're talking about Don Dickerson still. Though the government is reacting slowly or ignoring problems, companies like Whole Foods, Dole, Heinz, and Del Monte won't buy crops grown in biosolids, while Switzerland, the Netherlands, and other countries have banned it. Still, the wastewater industry has strongly denied that health issues exist and regularly calls any contrary evidence anecdotal. The Great Lakes Water Authority, which operates one of the nation's largest biosolid programs, declined interview request from The Guardian. Despite sludge's chemical makeup, the wastewater industry bills biosolids as green and even sells it as organic fertilizer in stores like Walmart and Lowe's, though packaging doesn't indicate that it's composed of human and industrial waste. Well, duh. Why would they tell you? They don't have to tell you when the stuff you put in your body, food, is a GMO or bioengineered. When do they tell you? You know, that's the company's choice if they label it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not required. Why would America require them to say that fertilizer is composed of human wastes? You know what I mean? Get out of here. Of course they don't care. Alright, but also real quickly, Walmart sells it as organic. So does Lowe's. So if you've bought organic fertilizer, you've already dealt with this stuff and had not a clue. Alright. The waste management industry treats sludge in several ways before labeling it fertilizer. Air drying, pasteurization, and composting are among common methods. Lime is employed to raise pH level and to eliminate odors. And about 95% of the pathogens, viruses, and other organisms are killed in the process. So about 95%. Overall, that's pretty good, right? But Rain stressed that none of the thousands of chemicals known to be in biosolids or tens of thousands of man-made synthetic chemicals for which the government doesn't test are removed. It has a technical song that sounds pretty good. However, nothing that is done to the sludge removes the chemicals, said Rain. They just spend a little money on PR to convince us it's nice fertilizer and fail to mention all the other things that are in it. So, how disturbing is that, right? If you was unaware of the use of biosolids or even the existence of biosolids, please leave a like. This needs to be recommended before this platform goes down for us, if it does. And I do have something I want to talk about relating to that later in another video. But yeah, if you was unaware, please leave a like, share this video. Much love. God bless each and every one of you. Phil James, I'm out. Peace.